What is up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a tutorial on this eye look right here. I love this color combination. As you guys know, the peaches and the pinks with the plums and the cranberries and the oranges. I just love that kind of color combo. So that is what I did today. I used the Nars Afterglow palette. It's a stunning color story here. I think this came out, I want to say, around Christmas time. I do want to show you in comparison to the gingerbread palette, because if you have one, do you really need this one? You can see very similar color stories here. And of course, what is different is the formula. This Too Faced palette came out sometime last year. I can't remember. I think it was maybe the early holiday collection, but don't quote me on that because I'm not sure. I did get it when it first came out though. So here we are with this palette. Now, this one retails for $59 and it's available at Sephora and Ulta and NarsCosmetics.com. You got 4 different textures in here. You've got mattes, satins, shimmers, and metallics. And these like metallic-y type and these satin shades, very super blendable. They kind of have a gritty texture, which anyway adds to the blendability, I feel like. And you'll see that. You guys will see what I'm talking about when I go through on the tutorial. It's just an effortless molten blend where they just kind of melt into each other. You just kind of, you know, tap and press, and they're just kind of blends itself. I love these shades that have a little bit of that gritty texture. When you have a shimmer that has a metal foil or like that wet foil effect, obviously that's not something, you know, I would use in my crease. But when you have a shade like this, you can definitely take it up a little bit higher because you're going to get that gritty texture. It just blends effortlessly. You guys will see what I'm talking about as I go through. So yeah, that's what's going on with this palette here. Absolutely love it. So yeah, if you guys want to see how I created this look, then just keep on watching. If you are new here, I'll take a quick second to welcome you to the video on my channel. I'm Lauren Jade. I'm 57. I have mature, crepey, wrinkly skin with hooded eyes that are slightly downturned. So I'm always looking for ways to pass my tips and tricks on to you guys so you guys can rock your hooded eye situation as well. I know we all have different eye shapes and different levels of hoodedness, but hopefully you guys can pick up a few things here and there. And with that all said, if you guys are new, I would love to have you join me. Please hit the subscribe button and the post notification bell right next to it. That way YouTube notifies you each and every time I upload. And without further ado, let's just get into this tutorial. Prime my eyes using the P. Louise base in the shade Rumor 2, and I'm using a P. Louise brush. I'm going to set this primer now. I'm going to do my normal P. Louise base style of setting it with a shadow. I'm using Melts Blur. It's a nice skin tone friendly shade. You guys know I've said bye-bye to the translucent powder method. I never liked that at all. I always thought it was kind of half-baked. So I'm really happy to be doing this. I really like this. This is, when you tap it in and press it in, it looks like it's coming from your skin. So it's just, especially when you pick like a nice, this one is nice and peachy toned, and it's just going to work really well with just about any, you know, eye look that I do. It's just a really nice little backdrop and halo. And I also kind of tap it in on the edges just to kind of smooth it out and also make it look like it's just part of the skin. I just love this method. It works so nicely. I'm taking it primarily on the upper socket region, brow bone area, and then I'm kind of just, you know, feathering and just lightly kind of diffusing the edges. I'm also going to pick up a little bit of this pinky shade right here and also tap a little bit of that on this upper section and also kind of set the base with this pinky shade, just because I'm planning on using those colors in here, and just kind of lightly putting that in there as well. And just really diffusing it. I'm going to grab this lighter shade and just put that underneath the brow bone and just kind of drag that down just to kind of catch the edges of those shades and make it nice and airy. I love when you can just like tap and press it in, because it literally just like blends the color for you. Get right underneath that brow bone and just kind of drag it down. It just kind of makes everything look nice and airy and airbrushed out here. been showing you guys what I've been using on my face because I usually do my face off camera. So today I'm using this palette here, which is the Becca Chrissy Teigen collab palette from I think it was 2 years ago. But these are highlights, and this is the bronzer I'm using, and this is the blush that I'm wearing. And I always use 2 bronzers, and I'm wearing this one today. This is the Ambiance. This is the Luminous Bronze Light from Hourglass. Forgot how much I actually love this color. It just has a slight sheen to it. And I'm going to go ahead now and bronze my crease. I'm going to use my normal Benefit Hoola bronzer because I just love how that looks. That color just is so neutral, and it meshes with just about any look that I do, actually any look that I do. And I'm going to just kind of start the excess right here on the bridge of the nose, and then I'm going to sweep it inward. And I'm going in the same alignment here as my brow. So I'm just sweeping that right in this upper socket region, pushing it up towards the brow. Gives such a nice sultry fade to the look. And I am highlighting my lid space now, making sure that I go really high up through the socket. You want to make sure you're looking down into the mirror so you can really hollow out that eye. Don't be afraid to get up really nice and high. Cheat that lid space, always catfishing. So when you do this and you highlight, now you can really see that contour that I did up here. So they play together. Shade and light work together. And I'm just using this white shade from this Laura Mercier palette. This slides open. It's like a bronzer thing, and it's like a kit. This is last year's, I think, holiday collection. Just do a little bit of baking because these shadows have a little bit of glitter reflex in them, so this will catch any of that fallout. And I also like having a bright under eye as well when I dust it away, so it's kind of a 2-in-1 deal. You guys often ask what I use. I'm using a mixture of this is the RCMA white translucent powder, and this is the Ben Nye luxury powder in the shade Banana. So I kind of mix these two together. All right, I am tapping in some of this orangey shade right here. I'm just kind of tapping right out here in this outer socket bone. When you just kind of tap and press like this, it just literally blends it for you, especially when you're using skin tone shades and light type transition shades. I'm going to start to work this up kind of at a diagonal to kind of meet up with this little area that I did with the bronzer. I don't typically take brighter shadows inward too much. I kind of leave that area right here for the bronzer because I have it kind of connected in with the nose contour, and I just find that gives such a beautiful sultry type of a look. Plus I always use bronzers on my face, so it just kind of ties everything together. So I really like to leave this little inner section right here for the bronzer. So I typically don't take those colors in. So I'm just working that out. I'm also going to start to bring some of that in on this lid. I find that that also helps with the overall blending process when you start to kind of bring some of these lighter transition shades inward and down like this. It just really kind of helps with the overall look. All right, I'm going to use this metallic-y tangerine shade right over here. I'm using a Jeffree Star number 12 brush. It's the same type of brush, it's just smaller. And this tangerine shade is a metallic, I think it's classified as. And it just has some glitter, pearly type reflex. So it's just molten. When you have some grit in these shadows, I often think of not shimmers, that's a true shimmer, like a metallic, like a metal foil effect type of a shimmer, but just a satiny shade, or even a shade like this. You know, this texture is just molten. It just melts into the skin and it melts into the shadow. You can see that it's already practically just melted, and I didn't do anything. Plus when you tap and press, you know, it just kind of blends it out for you. I've got a cat hair in my outer, in this eye right over here, and it's driving me crazy. Oh, every time I hug and kiss my cats, and like get too close to them. Like I just end up with their hair, their fur, like my eyes, and it's like, oh. All right, I'm taking this down here a little bit as well, kind of doing that little inverted C shape here. All right, I've grabbed that larger Jeffree Star brush and I'm just blending everything out. Just really making everything really diffused and airbrushed. I'm gonna kind of blow it out this way as well. And now I'm going to start to bring some pink into the look, and I'm sticking with that smaller Jeffree Star brush. This is a, I want to say, I'm not sure if it's one of the satin shades, but it's got some like grit to it. So again, it's just going to blend like a butter. And sticking with that same brush, I'm going to stick with that same technique of just kind of tapping first right out here. And this shades that have that kind of like grit to them, they just literally like melt like butter. So I'm just building up this color a little bit at a time. It's kind of that apply, blend type of scenario. But I'm just tapping this on this outer section here, and you can just see how it's just melting in to that tangerine metallic shade, because they both have that same kind of gritty type of a texture. And when you have that kind of texture, it just melts. It's just like an effortless, you know, blend. You really don't have to do anything. I'm just basically tapping and it's just melting into that other shade, which, to be completely honest, that's my idea of blending. Just little blending work as possible. I'm gonna drag a little bit of that pink inwards, just kind of high up and through the socket, just taking it in a little bit. I just grabbed a pencil brush here and I'm just tapping these edges. And you can just see, just by doing that, these little small circular motions and just kind of tapping out these edges, you can just see how it just, you know, diffused. My favorite tricks that I love to do, once I kind of get all of this kind of out as I want it to, I'm going to go back in and grab a little bit of this orangey shade and just kind of place that right over the pink and just kind of drag it down a little bit, just to kind of keep that orange, so I have that gradient fade from the orange to the pink. I want it to be kind of where you kind of really can't tell where one color starts and the other one stops, kind of a deal, because it's just kind of all gradient fade into each other. And that's kind of the look that I'm going for here, where it just kind of fades from the orange into the pink. I'm using my P. Louise base now in the shade 0, and I'm just going to do like a little half cut crease type situation. I'm using my P. Louise brush as well. Just going to do half. Getting it nice and high in there. Cheating that lid space, catfishing. And I'm not going to spritz my brush. I'm just going to go with the regular mattes, because you guys know how much I kind of like that effect as well. I love the metal foil effect, but I also like just the shimmers like on its own and just kind of how they blend in with the mattes. So I'm using a P. Louise base brush, and I'm going to toggle back and forth between this shade here and this one. I'm going to put this lighter one on the outer corner. So I'm going to start with one side of the brush and grab that peachy shade, and I'm going to put that one in the center, and I'm going to catfish as always, taking it up really, really high. I'm going to flip the brush over and grab that lighter shade. I'm going to go into this Nars, this is the Skin Deep palette, and I'm going to grab a little bit of this like chocolate brown shade right over here, mixed with kind of like this espresso. It's almost like a deep, like a brownish black. It's like an espresso brown, really. I'm going to use this Sigma E20. It's just a short shader, and I'm going to mix these two shades together, and I'm just going to do like a baby shadowing, and I'm starting on this outer third area right here. And I'm going to smoke it up just a little bit. And then I'm coming over here to like the very ends. And I'm just going to kind of stamp. I'm going to follow my lower lash line and kind of do a little feline flick And then I'm just going to kind of connect it. I'm just doing a smoky one, and then I'm going to switch brushes, and you'll see what I'm going to do and how I'm going to do that when I switch brushes. This is just to kind of give it a little bit of a smoke. I like to just kind of smoke that. All right, I'm switching now to an M432, and I'm just going to take this darker shade by itself, and I'm going to stamp that really close to the lash line here. Just kind of stamp and wiggle. And then I'm going to go to my outer corner right here, so kind of like right where they meet, and I'm going to follow the lower lash line up, do a little feline flick, and then I'm just going to kind of connect it like kind of straight in. Just going to connect them together. Now you have this little like wing tip here. I'm going to use a different brush for the inner corner. So I'm stamping this really close to the lashes and wiggling them in just because I want to get some depth and dimension into these lashes as well. And follow that and create that little flick. And then you just want to join it and connect it. Brown on the Sigma E20, which is a nice short shader, and I'm just smudging that on the lower lash line. And then I am taking it up, kind of like in the direction of that wing, making sure that everything is nice and smudged. I did a little darker wing today because I wanted to get that depth and dimension onto the eyes, and I don't want to use falsies today, so just did a little bit of a darker, more intense wing. It's funny, sometimes they start out as little baby shadow wings and then they just like grow. Okay. All right, so I'm happy with this. I'm going to pop on my inner corner highlight. I'm going to grab my MAC's Holy Grail here shade, which I absolutely use all the time, and a clean pencil brush, and just pop that on this inner corner here so I have that nice and light contrast there. I just swept away all that powder, and I'm using the Hourglass. This is the Ambient Lighting Trio palette, using an Hourglass double-ended brush. And I'm going to grab a tiny bit of the KKW. This is the shade number 1, the brightening powder for underneath the eyes, and I'm just going to add a little bit underneath, like this area right here, right underneath the eyes, just for a little extra brightening, because why not? Why not be a little extra? See how it just like brightened up the under. And I'm going to touch up with this Milani blush in the shade Luminoso. I love this blush. It's literally one of my favorite. It's a beautiful, like, luminous, peachy. Oh, I love this shade. I'm taking it really high up on my cheekbones because that's just going to add lift. I also have that Indian ancestry thing going on, so my cheekbones literally sit really high up on my face. So I'm just going to go up that high, and it's going to add extra lift to the face, and who doesn't want lift? All right, what I'm wearing on my lips, I got this little trio combo here. So this is the lip liner in the shade Show Off by Kylie Cosmetics. This one is in the shade Endless Summer. It's a peachy, it's like a coral metallic shade, and then I topped it with this Too Faced gloss in the shade Crazy Rich. So I thought all three of those would look really pretty together on the lip and would mesh nicely with the eye look. All right, that's it. I'm going to spray the face. Hold that thought. I have my fan and my Anastasia Dewy set. Whew. Whew. All right, guys, that completes the look. I absolutely love how it came out. I hope you guys could see just how, I don't want to say use the word easy because I hate that word because there's nothing easy about the eyeshadow game. But I want to say like an effortless blend, and just how you can just wear these shades and get such a beautiful look, and you don't have to be intimidated by color. it's a gorgeous look, and it just opens up the eyes, and I love it. All right, that's it. Mwah. I love you guys. I will see you in my next one, and don't forget, we're going to be diving into the new Jaclyn Hill Volume 2 palette. I love you guys, and if you guys liked what you seen, you learned something, you kind of vibed with, you know, what's going on here, yeah, I would love it if you would join me. Hit the subscribe button on your way out, and that's it. Mwah. Love you guys. I will see you all in my next one.